There is a savings rule going around right now with about 500,000 views behind it. It says move $50 every payday, and quietly, in the background, you build a full year of savings. It is a good rule. The unit is right. The psychology underneath it is real. And on the numbers the people teaching it are using, it takes 17 years. Not 1 year. 17. Nobody is lying to you. The arithmetic just never got run out loud. So we are going to run it. By the end, you will know the one number in it that moves the answer further than the $50 does. It is not your income. It is not the interest rate. It is a number almost nobody has ever written down. First, the part that is not your fault. Almost every savings rule you have been handed assumes something is left at the end of the month. Save 20%. Save half your raise. Save whatever is left over. Those are written for a life with slack in it. If you have typed your real numbers into a savings calculator, seen a date in the next decade, and quietly closed the tab, that was not weakness. That was you correctly reading a tool built for somebody else's paycheck. And if a savings plan has died on you 2 or 3 times, the plan died. You did not. Here is what the measured picture actually looks like. The Federal Reserve's Household Survey, released this May, found 63% of American adults could cover a $400 emergency with cash or its equivalent, which means better than a third could not. One honest caveat, because this number gets flattened everywhere it is quoted. Cash or its equivalent includes a credit card paid off at the next statement. So it does not measure who is broke, it measures who has a buffer. On the bigger question, the same survey found 55% had enough set aside to cover 3 months of expenses. And Bankrate in January found 30% could pay a $1,000 emergency straight out of savings. Now the part that changes the shape of all of this. When engineers cut a tunnel through a mountain, they almost never start at one end. They start at both ends and dig toward the middle. Same mountain, half the time, because 2 faces move toward each other instead of one moving alone. Your savings target is a tunnel. Every rule you have ever been given digs from one end only. The other end is sitting right there, and almost nobody tells you it can move. So let us build that mountain out of published numbers and name the parts that are guesses. One note first. These are published averages, not yours, and the rate is today's rate, not a promise about the next 10 years. Median weekly earnings for a full-time worker, second quarter of this year, $1,251. That is about $5,400 a month before tax. What actually lands in the account is the first thing nobody can publish, because it depends on your state, your filing, your benefits. So we assume 78%, and we call that an assumption. About $4,200 a month. Now the number this whole video turns on, your survival number. What it costs you to keep existing for 1 month if everything optional stopped. Housing, transport, food. The Bureau of Labor Statistics measures what households actually spend on those 3. In its 2024 survey, the newest published, those 3 are about 63% of household spending. Apply that and the survival number is roughly $2,677 a month. 12 months of that is $32,119. That is the mountain. If that number made your stomach drop, hold on to it, because shortly it stops being discouraging. Now the rule itself, run all the way to the end. $50 every payday. Most people are paid every other week, so that is 26 payments a year. $1,300 a year. $108 a month. Put that against a $32,000 mountain, in an account paying 4.2%, roughly the best ordinary savings rate right now. 203 months. 17 years. And if the money sits in a typical savings account instead, where the national average is currently 0.38%, it becomes 23.5 years. That is not a criticism of anybody teaching it. It is just the arithmetic, run out loud. Now change one word in the instruction, not payday. Week. $50 a week is 52 payments instead of 26, $216 a month. Same mountain, same rate. 120 months, 10 years. One word, 7 years off the answer. And we are still only digging from one end. Which brings us to what this video is actually about. Everything so far has been about the money going in. That is one face of the tunnel, and the only one anybody teaches. The other face is the finish line itself, and your finish line is not a law of nature. It is your survival number, multiplied by 12, which means it is not fixed. It is built out of your own bills, And a bill can be changed, so we change exactly one thing and hold everything else identical. Same person, same pay, same weekly 50, same rate. $300 a month gets freed up. Version 1. It comes from outside the survival number. Streaming, a gym membership, the subscription that renewed while you were not looking. Good decisions, real money, $300 a month straight into savings. The mountain is still $32,000 because the mountain was never counting streaming in the first place. 56 months. Version 2. The identical $300, cut from inside the survival number instead. The phone plan. The insurance renewal you accepted automatically. The thing you have paid since you moved in and never once reshopped. Now two things happen at the same moment. $300 more a month goes in, and the mountain itself drops because you are no longer saving up to fund a bill that no longer exists. $32,000 becomes $28,500. 50 months. Identical dollars, identical discipline, identical everything. 5.8 months apart, decided by nothing except which bill you happen to open first. And here's the version of that which holds no matter what your own numbers are. A dollar cut from inside your survival number is worth $2. It adds a dollar to what goes in, and it takes $12 off a target that is 12 times your monthly bills. Cut from outside, that is $3,600 a year of progress. Cut from inside, it is $7,200. Now the objection, and it deserves a straight answer. 50 months is still 4 years. I am not going to sell you a 4-year plan as a 1-year plan. But the objection assumes the fund does nothing until it is finished, and that is the part that is wrong. Go back to the tunnel. You do not get nothing until the two crews meet. Every foot of tunnel is a foot you are already standing inside. 1 month of survival money in the account is the month the late-night arithmetic stops. 3 months is the month a broken car becomes an expensive afternoon instead of a crisis. On these numbers, the first month arrives around month 6. 3 months arrives around month 16. The finish line is years out. The thing you actually wanted arrives in the first year. That is what the rule gets right, and it is the whole reason to start it all. 2 things I am not going to tidy up. The first matters more than anything else here. If your income genuinely sits below your survival number, if the arithmetic is already negative before a single dollar is saved, then none of this is your first move. A savings rule cannot fix an income gap, and nothing here pretends otherwise. The second is where the money sits while it waits. The gap between the national average savings rate and the best ordinary savings accounts is currently about 11 times. That is not the difference between saving and investing. That is the difference between 2 savings accounts. It will not dig the tunnel for you. It is just the one part of this that costs nothing to fix. So, 2 faces. One is the money going in, and every rule you have ever read is about that one. The other is a number you have probably never written down, and every dollar you move there counts twice. If you do one thing after this, do not start with a transfer. Write the list of bills you would still owe if everything optional stopped. That list is your finish line. Most people have never actually seen theirs, and you cannot move a line you have never drawn. If this made the math make sense, subscribing is how the next one finds you. And the last one, on why your credit score drops even when you pay on time, is the one to watch next.